усиливающейся геополитической напряженности возрастает значимость российско-китайского стратегического партнерства как стабилизирующего фактора. В наступающем году интенсивные двусторонние обмены продовжаться. Не сомневаюсь.
Спекових речей. І я вважаю, що ми повинні це в нормальному сенсі, що це була не резолюція, не декларація, це не інфраструктура для чогось. Мені здається, що Китай...
It's not about American or European trust. It's about whether they have an alternative. So who is the best person to do it? If both parties, if the Chinese understanding is after several months, both parties are exhausted and they want to have the forum to start peace talks, China can offer that. And no other country can do that. Especially considering the broader context that the US and European Union are viewed by Russia as parties to the war, and China has absolutely has leverage on Russia, and so China hasn't done anything to harm Ukraine, and so China can offer something to Ukraine, so that will make China actually in a much better position than any other great power in terms of playing the role of a mediator.
در پایان این نشست بیانیه‌ای سه‌جانبه بین دبیر شورای عالی امنیت ملی کشورمون وزیر مشاور
If China can do anything, even the slightest, to end the war, or to a lesser extent, to bring the parties together to have a talk, to have, for example, to suspend the war for some periods, for some months, right? That would be something very be of tremendous value to Chinese reputation and to Chinese prestige. So it marks the beginning of China playing a global leadership role, which used to be solely played by the United States.
We've also seen the peace plan effectively call for a ceasefire that would guarantee Russia occupation of large swathes of Ukrainian territory with more Ukrainian land than they had going into the war, because they still control parts of Kherson and parts of Zaporizhia and parts of Luhansk and even Donetsk that they didn't have before. So I think they're not really a fair and impartial stakeholder in this conflict, even if China in general is sincere about trying to promote itself as a mediator across the globe.
I got a handshake here, sure. That is
actually implemented by arbitrary reasons.
So I think that China is benefiting in this case from much lower expectations than if the United States were to try to broker some kind of initiative where the public exposure from failure would be magnified. So I think that this is a relatively low risk endeavor for China. If it doesn't work, they can say at least they tried to do it, and they'll probably continue to keep to their narratives that they're sticking to, focusing on how the West is arming Ukraine and NATO is adding fuels to the fire, and sticking with those kinds of narratives. And if they achieve anything at all, surprisingly, that'll just be a massive win. So I think that this is a low risk, potentially, but unlikely, high reward scenario, and that's why Xi Jinping is continuing it.